Hello, 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 everyone. My name is Laura and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, please like and subscribe so that you don't miss another video. Today, I just wanted to talk a little bit about complaining. This can be a touchy subject. However, I wanted to come on here because I did an earlier video about beliefs and how beliefs are just thoughts that we think over and over and over again. And I wanted to touch on complaining because I feel like in a lot of situations, complaining perpetuates negative beliefs that are holding us back. And so I'm gonna keep this pretty short and sweet. And if you are someone who maybe felt triggered by the notion that I was going to discuss complaining and how it does not serve us, know that that's okay. And your awareness of being activated by me even mentioning the word complaining is a start. It's great. I really truly began to understand the power in not speaking about the things that I no longer desire, maybe about 3 years ago. And while I discovered it, I actually took a program on mindset called Thinking into Results with Bob Proctor. God rest his soul. And it was incredible. It was beautifully simplistic. And I think that is what I loved most about it. And basically what he says, this isn't obviously the whole program. I definitely think if you're curious about it, you should take it. He basically says, if you can hold it in your mind, then you can hold it in your hand. And the reason why complaining does us such a disservice is complaining is speaking of what we don't want. And the funny thing is, what we focus on grows, or what we speak about, we bring about. So if we're constantly complaining, say for example, maybe something that I might have complained of in the past was constantly complaining about gaining weight and having no idea why, and I'm doing all of this stuff and it's not working. Me even making that statement was reinforcing the problem. And so it likely took me longer to get where I am now, because when we complain, we hold ourselves back. It becomes almost like a barrier to what it is that we truly desire. And so in that program, Thinking into Results, where Bob Proctor says, if we can hold it in our mind, we can hold it in our hand, he speaks about us being very clear about what we want. And so when we begin to become aware that we are maybe talking about things that we don't want, i.e. complaining, what is the opposite of the complaint, right? How can we flip it? Instead, to begin speaking of what we would love. Okay, so when you first start this, you may still have that feeling of almost like dissatisfaction and upset because whatever it is isn't your experience yet. But as you continue to cultivate an energy and a frequency that is more in alignment with what you want rather than maybe what you previously complained about, you will then bring about and attract into your life what you want. So for example, I shared in my previous video on beliefs how I was at a Tony Robbins event. And in that moment, I decided that I was going to love my physical body as well as get it into the best shape possible and feel good and thrive. So I just want to share that statement that I made, that decision I made that day, previously was that complaint I spoke about earlier. And so I got really, really clear on what I wanted and what I desired. And instead I spoke about that. I actually just saw this guy who was talking about a Chinese proverb, and he spoke about the man who complains and blame others has a long way to go. The man who complains but blames himself is halfway there. The man who blames no one has already arrived. And so ultimately, what I discovered for myself in my level of awareness was that complaining simply kept me from what I truly desired. It also became like a moment in which I gave my power away. So if you complain or blame a circumstance or a person or a situation, essentially you are giving control over what it is that you desire away to someone else. Whereas when we address maybe where we are and maybe that it's not the most desirable position that we're in, and then get clear about what we desire, or i.e. where we want to be, we begin to speak about what we would love. And then, like I said in our beliefs one, your mind looks for different routes to get there. And so that is the really most powerful thing that comes from stopping the complaints. So when you start to intentionally change the way you speak, change the way you act and behave, i.e., make a commitment or decide to not complain any further, you will catch yourself complaining, and that is okay. Know that this awareness is really, really good, because we have to be aware of where we are before we can, set the destination and then begin to travel there. So it's important to know where we are currently. It's like when you were young and you were in a mall and you went to one of those think directories that showed you where the stores are. You could look at it, but if it didn't have a point on the map saying you are here, you'd never be able to find where you want to go. So this is it. This is the time to declare you are going to surrender complaining and instead speak loudly and with deep desire about what you would love, and then just watch your world transform. It's truly so simple. It feels unbelievable at times. It's just like when I meet people. So I teach yoga. When I meet people and they have back pain or neck pain, and I ask them to just stand for me, they'll stand. And often people will put all of their weight to one side, and this kind of shifts your hips, tightens your ligaments, tightens your hips, will impact your back and even your shoulders and headaches. And I'll just tell them to turn their toes in and distribute all their weight evenly on both feet. And they're like, there's no way that will work. Well, listen, the 1% of people who actually change the way they stand come back and say, wow, I cannot believe what an impact that has had on my back pain. And the other people just don't believe it, so they never try. So transforming your belief to anything is possible with a knowing that the belief that speaking of what you desire is far more powerful than speaking about things you don't like is going to transform your life for the better. Start now. Tell me if you have already done this. Tell me if this is something that you are going to start today. This is a really great opportunity to share maybe even some of your experiences from where you shifted from a place of complaining to speaking about what you would love. And yeah, that gets to be proof for other people who are ready to make a shift in their lives. So yeah, have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you again.